is a type of medicine that trains your body to fight any foreign agents.
Plants are helpful for the ecosystem.
It's an electronic device for storing and processing data.
The nervous system is all the collection of nerves in your body.
Yeast is a eukaryote.
Welcome to Spectacular Science, where it's all about science, with your host, Akshay. Hey listeners, welcome back to this episode of Spectacular Science. I'm your host, Akshay. Now, you look at a plant or a tree, and it just looks like it's sitting there, like this house plant right next to me. Hi, Timmy. Oh, I just named my plant Timmy. So, Timmy is just sitting there absorbing sunlight, water, and nutrients. But really, plants have some superpower senses built into them. Well, they may not feel pain, they may not respond to us. They definitely don't talk, right, Timmy? Well, Timmy isn't talking. Well, anyway, that is what we're going to explore in today's episode of Spectacular Science. The super senses of plants. What's going on behind the scenes that we definitely don't know about, but with science, we have discovered that. All right, are you ready, Timmy? We're going to uncover your secrets, Timmy the Plant's secrets, today on this episode. So first of all, let's start out with what a plant really is. Well, a plant is a living organism that uses sunlight, water, nutrients, and carbon dioxide to create sugar, which is the food for itself, and oxygen, which is a byproduct of that reaction called photosynthesis. Plants are made up of plant cells which have these small components called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are what give plants their green color and what helps the plant absorb air and also nutrients and even sunlight from the plant's leaves. So really we have to thank chloroplasts for helping plants do photosynthesis. Plants definitely can't feel pain and don't really express their pain, but really, they actually do. And they don't actually feel the pain, but they are able to sense that and respond to it in a different way. Let's dig into the superpowers of plants. Let's do the first superpower. The first superpower, or super sense, as I like to call it, is growing upwards and the roots growing downwards. Now, these roots actually have small sensors in them, and those sensors sense if something's in the way of the root growing down, and that root follows gravity. That's right, plants are able to sense the gravitational pull of Earth so that the roots grow down. It would be funny if the roots grew up, right? But they need to grow downwards in the soil because that's where all the water, nutrients, and small pockets of air are located. And that is where the roots need to go. So the roots are able to follow Earth's gravity down into the ground. And they're also able to avoid obstacles using those sensors I talked about earlier. And those sense those objects, maybe a big rock. And what it will do is it will grow around that rock. And it's able to follow Earth's gravity all the way down. It's kind of like the roots are taking like a maze. Now, let's focus on the top of the plant right now. The stem. Inside of a seed, the stem grows out as a shoot, which is the small stem and the leaves that you see when the plant sprouts up into the soil. When that happens, it's actually following sunlight. So the sunlight is the key to what brings the plant above the surface, and the plant grows towards sunlight. That means that the plant always grows upwards. It wouldn't be effective for the plant to grow downwards because that's where you can get most of the air, nutrients, and most importantly, sunlight, which it needs for photosynthesis. Plants are able to sense direction and in which direction they're growing, since plants have a little portion below soil that grows downwards and a little portion above soil that grows upwards. That is plant super sense number 1. Now, let's do plant super sense number 2. Warning calls. Well, not really calls. It's more like chemical signals that the plant releases. You see, when a plant is attacked by a bug or an animal, or is even cut, it actually releases some chemicals into the air and through its roots. Those chemicals are kind of like an alarm signal, saying to the other plants, "Hey, I'm in danger here! This bug is trying to eat me! Defend yourselves!" It's also calling for help from other plants to send them nutrients, and it's also warning the other plants so that they can ramp up their defenses. By defenses, I mean ways for the plants to defend against invader pests. So for example, if a caterpillar is eating a plant, it'll release some chemicals into the air that warn other plants that a caterpillar is coming. And with that warning, the plants are able to prepare for an attack by the caterpillars, and they're able to release more chemicals in the air that warn other plants in the area. It's a really, really complex system. And by defenses, they're kind of like chemicals inside the leaves or the stem or even the roots that make the plant taste bad, so that all the bugs and the things that are trying to eat it go away. But this is not only done through the air. The communication can also be done through roots. Some trees and plants actually have root connections that are made by fungi that grow between the roots. So if we have a sick plant right here, and Timmy, which is my own plant, is healthy, you know what will happen? Timmy will send some of his nutrients to the other sick plant to help it. And this is through that small little root passages and also some chains of fungi that help do this. You know the smell of freshly mown grass? Well, it may smell good to some humans and may even be relaxing, but really, it's a plant warning call. The grass is warning other blades of grass around it that it's getting cut. And it's not really in danger because the lawnmower isn't going to do much to the grass, but because it thinks that something's attacking it, it is able to release those signals into the air to communicate with other pieces of grass. That's why you're able to smell that warning call. Now let's move on to plant super sense number 3. It is identifying pests. Wait, plants can identify pests? Well, they can't really identify pests by their name like we do, but it can sense that something is eating it. So, some scientists did this experiment where they recorded the sound of a caterpillar chomping on a leaf. And they played that sound back to a plant in the lab. And guess what happened? They detected that the plant was getting ready to defend itself from that caterpillar, as if that caterpillar was actually there right on the plant. You know how they're able to do this? Well, they have these specific cells that are able to detect pressure. So they don't really hear the sounds, but they're able to detect those pressure patterns with the caterpillar chomping on leaves. Which is just amazing. These plants just look like they're sitting there, and they haven't even evolved a nervous system. Just a reminder, a nervous system is a system of nerves, which are the communicative cells of your brain and all around your body, and they help control your senses and even movements. Plants didn't even evolve these nervous systems, but they are still able to do amazing things using their super senses. You know, plants should be superheroes, right, Timmy? Oh yeah, I forgot. Timmy can't talk. Well, I bet he said, "Yes, Akshay, plants should be superheroes." Well, I should get started on a team of plant superheroes. The plant her heroes, or super plants. Well, I need to come up with a name later. But before I go, what did we learn today? we learned that plants actually have defensive mechanisms and super senses. These super senses include growing up by following the sunlight, growing down with their roots by following gravity, and the second super sense is, of course, releasing alarm calls, which are formed in chemicals that are sent through the air or through the roots. And plants are also able to identify caterpillars eating their leaves versus just wind blowing by using the pressure and the vibrations that they feel. Plants can have feelings, but they don't really express those. It depends on what you mean by feelings, which is a long lasting debate. But we do know that plants do have some super senses. And my host plant, Timmy, agrees with me. And we should really start a team of super plants! Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Spectacular Science. Spectacular Science is produced and hosted by me, Akshay. Our theme song is by Charan Ramachandran. Special thanks to Varun Ramachandran. Please visit my website, spectacularsci.com, to find interactive activities, articles, blog posts, and so much more. That's spectacularsci.com. Please follow the Spectacular Science membership, where you can get bonus episodes, activities, and the fact of the day, a fun science fact every single day. Sign up at spectacularsci.com/membership. Please contact me. Email me at podcast@spectacularsci.com or head to spectacularsci.com/contact to find a contact form where you can send me questions, comments, and episode suggestions. I love hearing from you, and it makes my day whenever I receive a message. Please subscribe or follow Spectacular Science on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. By following, you get all of the episodes automatically and get notified when new episodes are available. To learn more on how to subscribe, visit spectacularsci.com/subscribe or click on the link in the show notes below. Also in the show notes, you can find episode descriptions and activities and articles that go along with this episode. Go to the episode description. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Spectacular Science next Tuesday.